We're nearing the 1-year anniversary of the start of the war in a couple of days. I think all of us can agree that this is a time of self-reflection, and brutal honesty. And one of the things that I believe is that the primary feature of a third world country is not income. It is the fact that one generation betrays the next. When I look at the events of last year, and I try to self-reflect on it, it's fair to say that I think I betrayed those more than 4,000 people that are no longer with us, mostly very young men. I think they were betrayed by me because I wasn't active enough, I wasn't loud enough. They were betrayed by their commanders who weren't worthy of leading them. They were betrayed by a diaspora that treats this country like Disneyland. They were betrayed by political leaders that were either too corrupt or too incompetent over the last 30 years. It's fair to say that almost everything that you have done in your projects are really at its base an attempt not to betray the next generation. We have failed this one time, universally failed. What do we do not to betray the next generation?
What you ask, Eric, I think is very important. And you remember our 15 points. One of the points which we made in number 15, we need to get out of the myths and illusions and talk about what is real. And one thing which we've been unfortunately try to escape always about talking about true and real numbers, not about illusions and dreams. And this is one of the key problem, which is why, if you remember, I made my speech in October 5th. It was very tough for me to talk about something which I knew is coming. And I knew I'm not involved in decision-making process. I'm a business person. But I said, what I can do, how I can stop what already was clear. And it's destroy with illusions and myths was in our society unbelievable. It's one, if you look at our 15 points, one is the key point, is get out of myths and illusions. Talk about real picture, not about something which we're dreaming. The second, I will say honestly, is also, I think it's engaging people, because we have a unique moment now, in my view. We've been living in mediocre development for the last 27 years. And the 3 years the revolution happened, and it was big emotional, positive attitude, and we got something which people hoped will become big changes. Now we're in a deep crisis. We have a serious time for decision-making process. I believe if we will not use this moment for really make changes, we are done. This is why we started the Future Armenia. This is why I became the Armenian citizen. So I thought it would be critical for me, with my colleagues and friends and partners, to spend so much time talking about how to make engagement of the people. That's why we got 107,000 people. I believe indifference, apathy, and not building about the future will be killing Armenian nation. And this is one will be danger element of the time. At the same time, it's the best opportunity for us to make a change. So I believe we have a unique momentum of doing something today compared to what was done a year ago.
Eric, maybe I will also add some comments. I think your comments are spot on. It's a very painful moment for all of us. And I would distill down the source of our collective betrayal into two things. One is that I think as a people, we have become non-believers. And what I mean by non-believers is not from the point of view of our faith. That's a different matter. But we have become non-believers in our future. We are believers in our past, and we are believers in those who are supposed to come and help us when we need them in the present. But we don't believe in our future. I don't think we believe that we can actually, as a nation, change and compete and win. And the last 20 years, we attempted, thinking that's the only place where we can make a difference, because we're not physically there, many of us, to create an awareness and a belief in the year 2020 as a destination for a more attractive country, a more prosperous, secure, sustainable country. But when I look back at that period, where we failed grossly is to create believers. Because the indifference Ruben is talking about, in my view, has to do with the fact that we simply seem not to believe and therefore not to care. And then the second thing, I think, a related thing, is that we seem to be continuously trapped in a survivor mentality. You know, we are continuously talking about the genocide and the injustice, and that has trapped us to remain survivors. And survivors live in the moment. They struggle and they survive. You know, carpe diem. This is what we're gonna fight for. This is just enjoy the moment, live the moment. Look how lucky you are, you're surviving. And I think what people don't realize is that at the limit of survival is not thriving. At the limit of survival is just survival. If you survive and you're poor, you will survive poor. Nothing about survival ensures any progress, any transformation. It's an altogether different force and a different level of sacrifice to create a future. And so I too, Eric, shared the sense of deep, deep betrayal and disappointment, but having to do with our inability as a nation to believe collectively in our future. That's where I think the biggest problem is. And we can discuss who is responsible and who can even change, whether it takes a church, a government, international institutions, philanthropists, musicians, artists. I don't know who it takes. I think it's going to take all of us to begin to build the future we want, not to be trapped in the present or the past.